Hello, we're coming to you from Kitchen Collective, the one and only urban cooking school with Chef Ryan, who's going to make a very exciting meal for us. We're starting with scallop crudo.
Yeah.
He's going to walk us through the process. I can't wait to find out how to treat scallops because it's such a delicate protein. I know I'm intimidated. You guys are going to learn a ton, so let's do this.
All right, well, we're going to do it two ways today. We're going to do it raw, crudo, it's Italian for raw, and then scallop risotto with beautiful peas. It's springtime here in Napa. So it's been sitting on ice, rinsed, and then patted dry. And we're just going to...
Very important, having it dry, right?
In a nice sharp knife, so you get nice pieces like that.
So you're actually slicing it in three?
Yeah.
Any particular scallop that you recommend?
It depends on what you're going for. This is Hokkaido scallops from Japan. They are kind of, every pound you get 10 to 20 instead of the big U10s, so they're nice size, nice versatile size.
Are they sweeter flavored?
These are very sweet.
Okay.
And they're very firm, which makes it good for risotto. And crudos.
And it's pretty easy to slice. You don't have to have like professional knife skills, right?
You need a sharp knife.
Sharp knife.
Which is a professional skill. All right, so now we're ready to plate it.
Wow, that was quick.
We have a little bit of lime salt. So it's basically the zest of lime kind of rubbed together with sea salt, Malton salt.
What's the ratio of the
for like every cup, I usually use the zest of 3 limes.
Okay. So you need a lime zester, you need good salt, and you need some good limes.
Yep, and hands. Rub them together.
That's the key to everything.
And then we have a little bit of grapefruit bead vinaigrette. So we'll segment the grapefruit and squeeze out the juice, bring it to a boil, and then put it in a container and shake it up, and all the pulp kind of releases. And it makes a nice little presentation on the plate. And we got a little rice wine vinegar, mirin, and microplane ginger, and a little bit of olive oil. A little bit, yeah.
Okay. And why did you choose grapefruit as a citrus? Why not lemon? Why not lime?
Because that would be a little too tart, and these have nice big pulp pieces, and the flavor is better for the scallops.
So you're looking for look and taste.
Yes.
And you really try to sync up.
And we have a little bit of pickled fennel.
Okay.
And we're going to garnish it with.
And fennel has a relatively strong assertive flavor, so you have to be light-handed with it, right?
Yes, you do. Don't overdo it. We have a little bit of mint that we're going to tear into pieces. I like tearing it because it doesn't bruise it. Keeps the flavor intact.
You don't slap it like for cocktails. This is a different story.
I will. If we had the cocktails here.
We're going to have the cocktail pairing next time. He said it, so now we have to go with it.
And then that's it. We can put a little bit of flowers on there. We got a little rosemary. So the rosemary flowers, because it's scallops and seafood, you want to be delicate with the flavor. So there's a little piece right here. Okay. You kind of separate from the flowers so it tones down the rosemary. Otherwise, it's like biting into raw rosemary.
Oh, this is so pretty.
Got a little sweet alyssum from out in the front area over there. I've seen it walking in.
Gorge. This is like a Michelin star dish right there. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm going to kind of tilt it gently. That's absolutely gorgeous. It's like spring in a plate. It smells fantastic. I can really smell the mint. Yeah. And that, obviously the freshness component.
Yeah, this wakens the palate for our lunch here today.
Is this the original? Did you put this together in your mind?
Yes, I did.
So
I usually use hamachi or tuna. Okay. In this case, I use scallops. And yeah.
Wow. Well, and how easy was it? I mean, you do have to have some prep. So remember, you need some good salt, coarse salt, some lime zest, and then you don't have to repeat it exactly. I mean, if you don't have fennel, you can use something else with that.
Pickled rams, pickled onions. Just make sure that the pickle is kind of sweet.
Yes.
So add a good amount of sugar to your pickling liquid.
Okay. And then, in terms of decor, just if you have a bush outside of your apartment or a whole garden, either way, I think you could pull something together quite quickly and impress the heck out of your guests.
But definitely do your research, because the difference between edible flowers and non-edible, they're poisonous.
I think I just sent somebody into a hospital. Okay, forget going to your...
Unless you know what it is.
Yeah, in California, we're so spoiled. So people that are watching outside of it, forget what I said. We have rosemary growing pretty much everywhere. So,
if you don't have it, your neighbor probably does.
Yeah, so that's an easy go. Just rosemary is safe. I mean, we all kind of know what it looks like. But, you know, don't go start picking random things. But I'm just so pleased with how beautiful it is and how quick it was.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
No cooking this time.
No, just good ingredients and very creative plating.
Yeah.
We just met Ryan, who made us an extraordinary scallop crudo, and now we're here with Chef Antonia, the goddess of the kitchen, so please refer to her as such when you meet her, which I hope you do, because I know that she's a tremendous talent. And she'll walk us through course number 2. And what are we making, Antonia?
So we're gonna do a nice duck confit salad. It's gonna be with a lot of spring vegetables, some pickled vegetables, just kind of going with this season. We like to stay with this season at Kitchen Collective and kind of play on that as much as we can. So really nice bright green, really nice bright flavors, and then just to match that kind of fatty duck confit. Duck confit we made, basically it's cured duck legs, and then it's cooked in its own fat over a long period of time, so really low and slow, so it becomes really tender, kind of like fall off the bone. We have it here as our end product. You can kind of see. I'm just gonna pour.
You guys, this is classic French.
How
decadence
tender.
defined.
So bones just come
Look
out.
at that. That's exciting.
Wipe my hands.
Sorry, I get unusually excited about classic French cuisine.
Yes, there's something about that makes you want to salivate, and it's
I know. I'm
really
staring
delicious.
at it. And it's like, this is just
Very good.
textbook.
Very good.
And,
So,
yeah,
go on.
sorry, no, you're pairing it with
some greens,
you
yeah.
know, to
So-
lighten up.
So yeah, when you have that acidity, it's really nice to balance that kind of fattiness of that, and as well as like some sweetness. And we're gonna make our dressing here in a moment. But just so you can see kind of the vegetables that we have some greens here, some arugula, some sliced apple. We like the combination of apple and duck, as well as some pea shoots, just to go with the season. And that's gonna be our base for our salad. And then we have some other vegetables that are going in there. But we're gonna first make a vinaigrette, and you're gonna help me. So
Excellent, love it.
we have some sherry vinegar, some nice 20-year-old aged sherry vinegar, very good, nice and tart. We have some honey, some whole grain mustard, and some oil, and we're gonna make our dressing out of this.
Cool.
So I have my bowl here. If you wanna grab just about
Absolutely.
a tablespoon with that spoon,
Okay.
and you know we eyeball.
Good, Chef.
We'll do a little bit more than that.
A little bit more. So this is just your regular whole grain mustard,
Yes,
correct?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So, 20-year-old aged vinegar, just about a tablespoon or 2 of that.
Oh, it smells
Super good.
fantastic. Good quality ingredients.
Perfect.
Good. Okay.
And then, do you see the salt and pepper right over there?
I
You
do.
grab-
So
let's do
kosher,
a
we're
kosher
gonna
salt.
do kosher. Okay.
And you can do just a
Just
pinch
a
in there.
Okay.
A little bit more than that. And we're also going to season our greens, and we also have a good bit of salt in the duck, so we just have to, you know, pay attention to where all of our salt's going.
Yes. So the seasoning, you definitely want to control because even though it's a salad, you can over season it.
Yes, absolutely. That's perfect.
All right.
And then here's your whisk. You want to whisk that together.
Yes.
And then we have some honey. So you can put about a teaspoon of honey in there.
All right. So just a little bit because it's very sweet.
Yes. And we also have the sweetness of the apple. The pickled veg that we're going to use has a little bit of sweetness. Maybe a little bit more.
A little bit more.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right.
Great. So while you whisk, I'll squeeze in some oil. We're just going to emulsify. The mustard helps to emulsify, right?
So it's good to have a sous chef because somebody
Yeah,
can
right?
help you with the oil part.
It's kind of always having a sous chef here is really great. I mean, when I make dressings, I usually don't have somebody squirting the oil, but it'd be nice, yeah.
If you can, engage somebody. Grab somebody off the street and just say, hey, I'm cooking. Are you coming?
Exactly.
I think that hands-on interactive cooking is so much part of the process and makes it so much more, you know,
Absolutely.
entertaining and pleasurable. So
We can go just a little bit faster. I agree. I mean, it's nice. A lot of people love the the cooking aspect of getting together and stuff like that. And it makes things super fun. And you can see that it's becoming like one homogeneous mixture. And that's just because it's emulsifying together. We're gonna take a spoon here.
Ready to bind.
And take a spoon. And
I'll just leave it here just in case
dip in. Really good.
Delicious.
Tart but sweet, so kind of balanced. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So we have a dressing.
We have a dressing, right? We're ready. So I'm going to put on some gloves here.
So is it handy to have gloves in the kitchen?
It is, you know, I mean, you could use just your bare hands, but in a commercial kitchen, you kind of want to use gloves when you're cooking, you're using ingredients that aren't cooked, you know. So
yes, no, actually, that's a really good point.
You know, raw greens and stuff like that is really important.
Yep.
In plating. I mean, at home's a little different. You know, we pick and So I got my gloves on. We're gonna take some of these vegetables. I got some sliced asparagus, springtime.
Oh, how pretty.
Yeah.
So not a lot of people use raw asparagus. I know I don't. I typically cook it, but I just learned that that's quite
you want to make sure it's not that really fibrous end of the stalk. It has to be that top part. When it's fibrous, it's kind of hard.
And
so we have some breakfast radish. Yeah, it's a good crunch and just spring flavor.
So you said breakfast radish. That's a variety of radish.
Yeah, it's a variety. It's nice. It's spicy. Good flavor. So I'll put that in there.
And mandolin is very handy to have, right? Because I noticed that the texture element is really supported by how thin you know ingredients are, so nothing is overpowering.
Exactly.
That
very important.
Looks so good.
So we're gonna add the duck. Yeah.
And actually, you can prep it ahead of time, and you can have your duck confit ready to go.
Yeah, this can be. So if you keep it in the oil, it will last in the fridge for a good long time.
How long would you say?
I mean, it depends, I guess. I mean, at home, technically, it should last a couple months in the oil.
Couple months.
Because the oil is protecting it from anything growing, so it kind of helps out in that situation.
It's such a good, handy thing to have.
Yeah.
You can make so many things with it.
And you can also freeze it if you want to. If you don't find yourself using it that soon, or want to use it, save it for another.
Well, that makes sense.
So here, I'm gonna grab the salt, and you grab me the pepper right there. I'm just gonna season once first. And here.
That's really interesting because I thought since we seasoned the salad, we're not going to be putting.
I always season my greens first. I find that you have to kind of do both. I like to pour around the edges of the bowl.
Okay.
And basically what that does is help me not like really, arugula is a soft green, so I don't want to like squanch it. I want it to be nice and just like let it fall into the dressing. So I'm not wilting those greens too fast, right? Or bruising them.
Would it work with other greens? I know arugula is a very specific green. It has texture. It has that little hint of bitterness.
We personally like the combination of arugula with duck, but you can use anything basically. But I mean, as long as you balance it in your dressing, it doesn't really matter, you know. So if you like a certain green, some people don't like arugula; it's a little bit too spicy for them. Yeah. If you like a certain one, then you can definitely do it that way.
This dressing is money. Hopefully you let us post a link.
Absolutely.
Because I want to make it at home. I think it's so complex and it has sweet, sour, the texture from the grains and the mustard. I think the key component is that vinegar. You know, it adds that complexity because it's aged and it has so many different things going on by itself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good point. Aging or anything makes it really complex in flavor.
Yeah.
So I have a chill plate that I pulled out of the fridge just to keep it nice and cool. I like to do that if I can.
You know, that is such a good tip, putting a plate in the fridge. It's so simple.
It is.
You know, it's details. They matter.
They do. So usually, naturally, all your like goodies are going to drop to the bottom of the bowl. So I try to like make sure that each plate gets some of the stuff that I made.
Another nugget of wisdom: when you're plating, get to the bottom. Make sure that you don't leave anything behind that should be in the plate.
So just get some of that thing, some radishes. Make sure we just all get in there. And then, so after that, we're gonna put some pickled carrots and onions. Ooh. And that's just gonna add another complex flavor.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna switch my glove here. Just have too much stuff going on in that one.
And that color is gonna add so much visual interest.
It is.
So pickling liquid.
So this is just kind of standard. It's it's going to be rice wine vinegar, water, salt, and sugar, basically. But you can add any flavoring if you want to add like some, you know, chilies or add some spices. Those are fine too. Or use a different vinegar. Those are fine. Just want to make sure it's like a balance of the salt and the sugar, not too much. Unless you're looking for a sweeter pickle or what you're looking for.
So you can vary that a bit, but balance is key.
Definitely key. So here we go.
Gorgeous.
There's your salad.
Absolutely gorgeous and healthy.
Very healthy. Good. We got the duck confit, but we have the vegetables in there. So here we go.
Have Antonia be the model. And she did a tremendous job, and you guys saw how fast it went. If you have a duck confit, if you have a pickled vegetables, you can put this together in minutes. We're back with Chef Ryan. He's going to show us how to make risotto and scallops. A couple things again that are a bit intimidating. There's an art to risotto. There's timing to it. So I know that a lot of us are a little bit scared about all those elements. So you're going to tell us, you're going to walk us through it, tell us how it's done properly.
Absolutely. It's all about love. And not overcooking for the scallops and the risotto. So we got all of our stuff set up, which is very nice. You're going to get a nice pot like this, not too deep. You want it to be shallow enough for, you know, the liquid to evaporate and, you know, cook out. You don't want it too shallow, or else you're not going to be able to get it. The risotto is creamy. We have a little bit of pea stock. Instead of chicken stock, we use peas because we're doing a springtime risotto, and we shell all these peas, and we have all these shells, so why not use them? So we make it with some fennel, the fennel tops that we were usually going to throw away. We throw it in there, the pea shells, lemon zest, whatever herbs, tarragon, you know, make it nice and flavorful. And then you just cook it for about 45 minutes and then let it steep for half an hour and then strain it. And you get this nice greenish yellow stock. We have that nice and hot. We're going to turn this pan on.
How cool is this for vegetarians?
Right?
And
then we're going to mess it up by throwing scallops and Iberico ham on it.
Oh, I'm okay with it. But I'm a carnivore.
But yes, you're right. We also do this with mushrooms. We make mushroom stock with the stems that we're going to throw away, and that's also vegetarian. Sometimes I won't make it vegan. I'll put the Parmesan rinds that we would also throw away. We put those in there to steep, add depth. And
ooh, I love that. Yeah. Using everything is so important. You know, everybody talks about sustainability, but that's how you can make it at home.
And you make the boss happy, so he gets off my ass about food costs.
There you go. You're killing two birds with one stone. Can't get any better. But I'm so intrigued with the pea stock. I mean, I've never even heard of it. Vegetable, of course, but peas, wow. So
we're gonna add a little bit of blended oil. It's 75% canola, 25% extra virgin, so it raises the smoke point.
Okay.
Extra virgin you want to use more for you know, finishing or you know, vinaigrettes.
Okay, and you're toasting.
Just gonna sweat it down. We don't want color. We just want to soften it up.
Okay. You're doing a little onion, and sweet onions better, the deli onions than regular or not?
Yeah, they're pretty versatile. You don't want to use red onions because that'll mess with the color. These tend to have the most flavor. White onions, so use those more for salsas. Yellow onions are pretty versatile. So we're gonna add the Boreo rice.
Yep.
And we're gonna toast the rice. Use a wooden spoon. If you use a metal spoon, what will happen is you'll tend to break the rice once it becomes cooked. We're gonna add a little bit of garlic and Calabrian chili.
Okay.
We didn't add that in first because we didn't want that to burn before the onions.
And I know she didn't measure the rice.
Yeah, with risotto, like if you're steaming rice, you need the right ratio. Risotto, as long as you have enough liquid, you're good. You just cook it till it's done. Add a little bit of white wine.
Why low?
and salt. Don't be afraid because the rice is going to expand and it's going to end up being a lot of rice.
We have fire.
Burn off a little bit of alcohol.
It burns out the alcohol, so if you're concerned about that, that's not an issue.
Yeah, pregnant women can have it. It's fine.
Yep. Do you use a certain brand of arborio rice, or is it really pretty?
No, you can make risotto with pretty much any type of rice or grain. I made it last week with farro. You can make it with barley. I've also made it with sunflower seeds. So I did it with sunflowers, sunchokes, sunflower sprouts,
wow.
Every part of the sunflower.
Sunflower seed risotto. Again, something I haven't had yet. I need to come here more often.
I've seen people do it with pine nuts. When I talk about food costs, I definitely can't do that.
Yeah, pine nuts tend to be pretty costly.
Yeah, it's going to be an $80 risotto. All right, so the wine's pretty much evaporated and absorbed into the rice.
Yeah.
We're going to start with our first couple ladles. Yeah, maybe 1.5. Once that goes, then we're just going to add a little bit at a time.
Okay, so you're trying to really immerse the ingredients and have them absorb that liquid.
Yeah.
And what is the typical time frame? How long does it take?
So it depends on the amount. So we're
Okay.
just doing one portion right now. So, I mean, like I said, cook it till it's done. So you're probably going to be about 15 minutes. If you do like a big batch for a big party,
yeah,
that'll take about 30 to 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about reheating risotto? Is that friendly for that?
That's fine, as long as you don't cook it all the way. Like I tend to cook it a little more than halfway, mm-hmm. and then that cuts the cooking time actually less than half. Or
okay.
Like people would think that it's in half, but it's not. It's going to go quicker because it cools down. It's still absorbing liquid.
It's good to know, because if you're having a dinner party, you don't want to...
Yeah, you can make it ahead of time, just don't do it 100%. Because once you try to reheat it, if it's close to done, it's going to turn to mush.
You don't want that. We want slightly al dente. And I can smell it, you guys can't, but if there is smell-o-vision, it's already happening.
And I use a flat plate when I serve risotto. Some people do a bowl, but if you make the risotto, it puts me to the test. That if I make it wrong, it's either going to go flat or it's going to stand up, and you don't want to put it on here. It's going to go right where it needs to be.
Ah. So if you want to test your prowess, don't put it in the bowl.
It's taken a while to get to that point.
So is that one of the harder things?
Yeah. Honestly, one of the hardest things for cooks is eggs. So when I have cooks come in here to try out for a job, I'll have them cook me one of each kind of egg and time them, so they got to do a few at the same time. Some of the best line cooks that I've worked with have come from Denny's or IHOP that have worked the egg station.
This is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, time management.
Wow. So what's the hardest type of eggs to make?
Depends. Over easy, it's hard because it's real lightly cooked, and then when you go to flip it, a lot of people, they'll flip it too hard and it'll bust, and or they won't have all their mise en place ready, and they'll turn away and then go back and it's all overcooked. A perfect omelet is very hard.
Do you offer classes on said perfection?
Yeah. I actually taught my dishwasher how to make one, and he did 5 in a row perfect. And I told him he's working Mother's Day brunch station, flipping omelets.
I need to look into this because I thought I made the frittino a little bit. It sounds like there's a lot more to the story.
We'll do that next time.
Excellent, love it.
Or I'll have my dishwasher do it because I feel like Tiger Woods' father.
Oh my God. This clearly
Found an omelet prodigy.
There's a lot to unpack here, so we're going to need to have another conversation, tape conversation, so you guys can be in on it. I don't want to just keep all the goodness to myself. We have things are happening now. So this is full on heat. You're not trim it. You need
once it starts getting close to being cooked, we're going to lower it down because that's when it'll start to stick and burn. Especially after we add the cheese, we're going to lower it down. But we're going to cook this about 70% of the way.
Okay.
Turn the heat off, and then we're going to go with the scallops. And then, like I said, time management, we're going to try and time it right. Everything to be done at the same time.
No, that makes perfect sense. So right equipment, you gotta have the right pan, gotta have a wooden spoon, gotta have the mise en place.
everything ready. You don't want to walk away, then come back and your rice is burnt.
Yep. So, but really, again, pretty simple. A lot of this timing, attention, you know, not...
Yeah, you don't have to be a rocket surgeon. You just got to be organized.
You know, cooking is such a pleasurable sport, honestly, but a lot of people are intimidated because they think that they're going to get it wrong. And that's okay, right? You get it wrong the first time, you're going to do better next time.
And you can, cooking, you can usually fix it if you know how to. That's why I'm not a baker, because if you bake things, you're screwed.
Yes.
But it comes down to repetition and consistency, and
you heard it.
You'll be all right.
You know, you didn't make your first risotto perfectly, right?
No, I did not.
Good, good. If you had said yes, I would have totally killed what I said. So, no, I mean, we all learn. Even people that are so incredibly good at it. You start somewhere and just have fun with it.
Yeah, my first job when I graduated from the pantry doing salads to the hotline, this was my first task. And yes, I ruined a big batch of risotto.
And is it
but that was the first time and only time.
Is it hard to make a large quantity of food? Is it exponentially harder, or is it kind of the same?
It just takes more time.
Okay.
But when you make like a single batch, you usually can do it a lot better than a big batch, more love. So that's the big batches. That's why we cooked it halfway, cooled it down, and then we heat them up as we go so we can pay that attention to detail to that one dish.
Yeah. No, I love this comment. More love. There's never enough love. You could always use more love.
Yes. So now it's starting to kind of absorb.
Yeah, it's starting to absorb the liquid.
We're just about ready for another addition.
So if somebody doesn't have access to Calabrian chilies, I know that's what you spiced it up with. Are the chilies okay?
Yeah, you could use crushed chili flakes.
Chili flakes, there you go.
Yeah, you can use whatever. Calabrian, it's Italian. We're keeping it Italian.
And they have very particular flavor, and actually they're pretty accessible. Most stores do carry them.
Yeah, sometimes they'll be dried, and then you just kind of steep them in oil, and that's how we buy them, in the oil. And then that oil you can use for whatever, spicing up a little vinaigrette or something.
There you go.
Or crudo, like we did earlier.
Dual purpose. I'm still thinking about that crudo that you just watched a little while ago. Those scallops were so sweet. The texture was extraordinary, and there was a crunch, and there was this, visual party going on. That was love.
Yep. There's also part of keeping it simple and honoring the ingredients that you're using. If you have good ingredients, you don't got to do all these foams or sous vide or whatever. Just keep it simple and do it right.
Heartily agreed. We're very blessed in California, but I know that a lot of other parts of the country have adopted the culture of growing in greenhouses. And even Michigan, I heard, is kicking our butt in terms of quantity of what they actually grow. It's fascinating. So seek and you shall find, but use good quality stuff.
Yeah, but it's crazy how far food has come with social media and everything, because like back in Florida when I first started out, certain times of year you can't get some herbs.
Yeah.
And now the availability and the variety has just skyrocketed from when I first started.
That's got to be so fun for you as a chef. It's like so many more things to play with. Where did you start cooking?
I started in Florida at a country club.
Okay.
And actually, my first job was at a Cuban restaurant when I was like 14.
Nice.
Making Cuban sandwiches on weekends, which was illegal, so I'm not going to name the restaurant.
But we love Cuban sandwiches.
But my stepdad, he's the one who got me doing it. He was a chef.
Yeah.
He's been a chef all of his life.
So you started cooking at 14, and clearly it's something you wanted to pursue.
Yeah, well, I wanted money first. As a little kid, I wanted to buy baseball gloves and stuff like that, because that was my first love.
Yeah.
But when that didn't work out, I needed something to pay the bills. So cooking and working in a restaurant, playing sports gives you that same kind of adrenaline rush sometimes. Yeah. Not right now. This is very therapeutic.
So what did you do after your stint with Cuban sandwiches, culinary-wise?
That's when I went to country club when I was 17, and I worked there on and off for about 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Got my first chef's job at 21 at an Italian bistro. went to a culinary school out there. Kind of mundane, so I kind of left it because I already had a good grasp of everything.
Yeah.
And then my uncle out here in California, he told me I needed to go to the CIA, so I came out here. And
Nice. So you're a CIA graduate.
yes, I am.
We love CIA. I think, obviously, I haven't gone to school there, but I've taken classes there. I think it's CIA New York campus, Hudson, and here have to be the best culinary schools in the country. Is that not true?
I'm more partial to the Greystone campus out here, but
No, I mean, trust me.
that one's a beautiful campus, huge.
Very, very lucky to, go to events there. I mean, I participate peripherally.
Yes.
But I've eaten lots of times at the CIA. And it's, if anyone out here even wants to take amateur classes, they offer those, by the way. But if you want to start easy, I know here at the Kitchen Collective, there really all kinds of stuff are going on. You should look at the website because even though it's a club, people that are not members can come, correct?
Yeah.
And they can learn from you.
Yeah.
They have interactive classes. They have different thematic dining events. It's actually quite dynamic and it's like best kept secret. You get an intimate experience. This is a commercial kitchen that I'm standing next to that's very well put together. I'm sure it's a great kitchen to cook at.
Oh, yes. And I have great people that I work with, too. And makes the job a lot easier.
And now you've met Antonia and Ryan. You can say hello. Kitchen goddess, remember that? And are you a god as well? So we're not leaving you behind.
No.
She's now known as goddess. So
yeah, the Greek goddess.
The Greek goddess,
yes.
And you are a Florida god. Is there such a thing?
I'm just Ryan.
You just Ryan. Okay, so no need to refer to him as deity. But we'll find out soon.
If you're getting biblical with it, I guess I'd be like Joseph.
Who's a cooking god? Is there such a thing? Is there a
No.
god of cuisine?
I don't think so.
You could be the first then.
Yeah. All right. So this is we'll probably do one more ladle, and then we're going to turn it off, and then we're going to focus on the scallops.
Okay.
We're going to cook the scallops on one side really nice and hard. Flip it over, turn the heat off, add some butter, and this beautiful Cadillac of charcuterie Iberico ham. Let that crisp up, and then just kind of soak and infuse the scallops. And then we're going to go back, finish the risotto, and then plate it up.
So Cadillac of charcuterie.
Yeah, I guess that's a bad term to use because Cadillac kind of got surpassed by the Germans and Japanese. But
No, but it
yeah,
gives you an idea
this is
how special that
this
is.
is like prosciutto. It is prosciutto, but it's from the black Iberican pigs in Spain that are pretty much exclusively fed acorns, and so it's a real nice and fatty piece, nutty. You can taste the acorns almost.
Oh.
And we're going to do some crisp in the pan, and then we're also going to garnish it with some raw pieces, so you get a little variation. Because you don't want too much cooked because it's going to be super salty. The raw fatty pieces are going to be nice, kind of to mellow it out.
So to validate your Cadillac sentiment, you'd appreciate the story. I asked Jose Andres once if he were to die, how he would want to come back, in what form. And he said, I want to be a ham.
He wants to be a black
He
Iberican
wants to
pig.
be a black. I want to be a ham.
Typical Spanish chef.
That's right, but he's very, it didn't even take a millisecond for him to respond. He knew exactly what he was after.
I've seen him cook fresh Iberico on grills, and it's like there's so much fat that it was just flaming up, and he probably had a few drinks. He was with Anthony Bourdain, I believe.
Oh, wow.
And he's just, it's going to be fine. You know, the flames just crisping up the pork.
Oh, good times. Yeah, no, he's a very impassioned, very dynamic individual.
Oh, yeah.
So I found a whole new appreciation for Iberico ham after that comment, and now I'm seeing it once again. We meet again, so I'm very excited about that.
Sometimes I'll go back to my, southern roots, and instead of using prosciutto or whatever, I'll have some beautiful Benton's ham, country ham from Tennessee, and we'll use that in there. And sometimes we'll make it like a red-eye gravy for the scallops, a little bit of coffee, ham, hot sauce and just spoon that over top.
That sounds ridiculously good. So if somebody wants to have this dish here, is that possible? If somebody wants to
just
come
gotta holler at me.
participate. See, you have options now. You can thank me later.
All right. We have this cast iron pan that's been heating up. It's nice and hot. We're going to actually let it cool down a little bit. Got these same scallops, these Hokkaido scallops.
Hokkaido. Got it.
You got to make sure they're nice and dry, otherwise you're not going to get a good sear on them.
Let's paper towels.
Yep. You're going to season it kind of from a height.
Yep. So why is that?
Just salt. So you just want to evenly distribute it. And you want just salt because we want that nice sear. And so if you put pepper on there, one, it'll overpower the flavor of the scallops, and two, it'll burn. And you just have these little black specks.
And liberal seasoning. I
Yes.
watch you dip in rice.
But a lot of it's still on the plate.
Yep.
So it's actually kind of lightly seasoned. And we want to do that especially because we're adding the ham,
Of course.
which is salty. We're going to add that same blended oil. Very nice and hot. And we're going to start at 12 o'clock and then move around so we know where we started at.
Important tip. I know I just throw stuff in the pan. 12 o'clock. What's your clock? So you're aggressively cooking one side.
Yes. We want a nice brown Maillard reaction going on. CIA key term. Maillard.
Maillard.
Not caramelized because there's no sugar, even though they are very sweet.
If they're not sweet, would you add a pinch of brown sugar or no?
Nah. Scallops are usually generally sweet. If they're not sweet, I don't really use them.
Okay.
They're low quality.
Do you add sugar to vegetables?
Vegetables? Yeah, so we have this mint pea puree that we're going to use to finish the risotto and garnish the plate with. When we blanch the peas, because you want kind of a sweet pea,
Yeah.
you'll help it out with a little bit more sugar. Sometimes they don't need it. It's early in the season, so...
White or brown?
What's that?
White or brown?
Oh, white. Because you don't want
always
to. You don't want to change the color.
Got it.
So we're just about getting there.
It's starting to look happy.
This guy's good.
So Ryan is really, this is how you can tell real chef. His hands are all in it. Hot oil and everything. He's just flipping them with his paws just like that. I love it.
Yeah. I don't have much feeling in there anymore. So we
Well,
turn
I see
the
here on
heat
your
off.
Still, and that,
Yeah,
I'm
people
not
think
questioning.
Antonia abuses me, but this was just hot grease. So now we're just gonna throw little pieces in there. Now this is mostly to flavor it, but we're also gonna garnish it too with the crispy pieces.
So you added butter,
Yeah.
and that's to give it more body, more flavor.
Yeah, more flavor. Like I said, I'm from the South. And that's good. We're gonna give it a little bit more time in there. I can feel the fat of the pork popping. These
You
guys are
touched
just
it.
about done.
That's how you know.
Yep. You don't want it too stiff. You want them rare to medium rare. Otherwise, you go any further than that, you're gonna have a little rubber bullet.
Yeah, overcooking scallops is a bad thing. You can't fix it.
And we're gonna pour some of that butter on there. That's good to go. So these will carry over a little bit, but they're rare still.
Okay.
Just leave those there to chill.
Okay.
Bring back the risotto. Give it a little taste, see where we're at. It's carried over to almost being there.
Thank
About
you.
80 to 90% there.
So how important is it to taste your food as you cook?
You need to know where it's at. You can tell by sight, smell, sound, and taste and texture.
Yeah.
But I can also visually see the rice getting creamy and right at about the translucency that it needs to be at.
I find it very helpful, just like you, to have a few clean spoons by your stove.
Yeah.
So you can kind of taste periodically, bond with your food.
They're not labeled, but usually they are. But luckily, I know that's dirty, that's clean. So.
Yeah. No, tasting is crucial. That heat from the Calabrian chili is definitely
Right in the background.
Yes, it's exactly right. You could definitely taste it, but it's not overwhelming.
And it's going to get even more toned down when we add butter and the puree and the cheese to it, and some lemon. It's going to
Lemon, I like
bring it
that.
all around. So acidity, cutting through the fattiness, and bringing out all the flavors.
Now,
Brings out the flavors just as much as salt, pretty much does.
Got it. Now I can see that balance is really something you strive for in every dish.
Everything. I like spice, but some things, like jerk chicken or something like that, you can still taste the flavors, but sometimes people will just try to make super hot things, and it's just, you can't taste anything. I can't taste anything for a day.
Yeah,
And my job.
No, some people have super palates, and they just have this ability to take on a lot of heat, but most of us don't. So, like you said, why?
Well, I want to call those super palates. I call those numb palates.
I'm trying to be nice. There's somebody watching that's like devouring a big pile of super hot chicken wings.
Hey, you do you. That's fine. I had somebody come in last night for that crudo, and she asked for hot sauce with it. And I made sure to give the server the hot sauce after I felt like she was probably already done with it. I was like, why are you going to ruin that beautiful crudo?
Aw. No, I have to agree with you here. It's just, if you're going to order something so delicate and refined, I think the hot sauce is probably going to kill it. So
this is right at the level where we want to stop adding liquid.
Thank you.
And start adding everything else to it. You'll lower it down.
It's the flavors and quite assertive.
So it's too spicy right now.
It's not. Sorry about that. Cold.
You all right there?
I'm good.
Now I'm adding the butter and cheese. Don't worry. All right, so we just add the cheese, butter, some of the puree. We're gonna add the zest and juice of lemon to there. If this wine was a little colder, I'd offer it to you.
No, it's totally fine. It's not the food, it's the fact that the girl has a cold and clearly lost her voice. I don't normally sound like a strange version of Kathleen Turner, but you'll forgive me for it. You have to.
Oh, it's all good. My voice was there yesterday.
Yes,
Partying a little too hard.
no such thing. Just right.
So now we got this nice green risotto.
Beautiful.
So you want to make sure you add the lemon like right at the end. Otherwise, if you let it sit, like if you made this ahead of time and turned it green already with the lemon,
Yeah.
it would, by the time you go to serve it, it's going to be brown because the lemon's
okay.
going to change the color.
It looks so pretty.
Can I get some more spoons? Thank you.
I'm admiring the scallops over here. They look perfect.
There you go.
Thank you. Oh, look at that color. Oh my goodness. That is ridiculously delicious. Wow, wow, wow. I think Gordon Ramsay would be proud. I watch a lot of cooking shows, so he's a stickler for a perfect risotto.
Yes, he is.
As you can see, folks, that's the process. You can't rush it. It has to be right. So take the time. Love your risotto, love you back.
This is where you want to stir it to kind of cool it down a little bit, so it gets to that right consistency that you want. We're off the heat. All right, we have a little spring veg medley here that's sitting in brown butter and pea stock. You got some chanterelles, favas, and some of the peas that are not pureed.
Nice.
So, I'm gonna go a little bit off center here.
Here's the all important test. How far does it spread?
So
You guys watching? I'm watching.
stop
very closely.
right there, hopefully.
You did. It stopped moving.
A little bit of that.
Oh my goodness. That's looking like spring in a plate.
Dress a little bit of pea shoots.
So you have a pea theme consistent throughout this dish.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have pea broth. We have peas in the risotto. We have peas on the scallops. We have fresh peas. It just, wow. We can have some uncooked Iberico for contrast and texture
And flavor.
and flavor. Don't forget that.
You know, a little tarragon.
Okay.
I like that flavor that's with a springtime theme.
It is a very good flavor, especially with the scallop and the peas.
Nice and
It
bright.
ties it all together. How long did it take you to perfect this dish, to have all the flavors merge? Just
This is the first
way-
time I've done it.
Yes, sir. So that was
But
done in
risotto?
just- Okay.
Took me a career. And I think just a little bit of oil and we're good.
Look at that
We have a
beautiful
little
dish.
risotto, scallops, and prosciutto, Iberico prosciutto.
Gorgeous. The only thing to add to it now is a fork
A fork.
or several. Thank you, Ryan. This
No
has
problem.
been such a great experience, and hearing you give useful tips along the way and then produce something that's so stunning is really has been a tremendous pleasure.
It's great having you guys.
We're on to a lot of folks' favorite part of the meal, dessert, and this contraption is going to help us make it with Antonia's capable hands. She's about to show us how to make ice cream.
That's right. So we're making ice cream with liquid nitrogen. This is a very cold substance, and a lot of places are doing it now in order to freeze ice cream really fast. Normally, ice cream is going to be slow churned, so over time you freeze it over. This enables us to do it over a short period of time, like 5 to 10 minutes, because this is like negative 310 degrees Fahrenheit. So because it's so cold, also it's kind of dangerous, so you always want to wear protective gear. I know what I'm doing with it, so I know how to step back, but you don't want to get this poured on you or anything like that. So usually professionals will handle this, but I've seen people do it at home as long as you know what you're doing. So
Yeah, don't hold us responsible for any injuries.
Yes, please don't. So I start off with basically a custard base to make ice cream. Custard base is going to have eggs. This is just vanilla ice cream. It's eggs, cream, milk, sugar, and I always add a pinch of salt and some vanilla. So vanilla bean or vanilla extract, whatever you have, but just to flavor it, or you can flavor it however you want. But this one's vanilla for us. So I have the base in our bowl of the mixer, and I'm going to turn it on a low speed, just mix. And I'm going to open this guy, and we're going to pour it in pretty slowly. We don't want to pour too much at once, and it's going to start to cool down that mixture.
It's looking pretty interesting.
So we'll do a little bit, and we let that smoke kind of dissipate before we move on to the next one. And I kind of feel the bowl just to see where we are, and I can hear the resistance and I know that it started to cool down really well.
Yes.
So what's happening is a lot of people are like, oh, so I'm eating liquid nitrogen. No, so once liquid nitrogen hits the air, it dissipates. So you're pouring that cold liquid in, it all evaporates, and you're just left with a cold product.
Absolutely. They do it to cool wine as well, so
Yeah,
I might have seen it in that context.
Exactly. So I can kind of see that we're tightening up here. I can turn the speed up just a little bit, just create kind of a whipping. So just keep that light and airy as much as possible.
So what does it add to the texture? When you make
I
the
think
liquid
it's
nitrogen?
pretty good. It's still as creamy as ice cream.
Okay.
I would say a little bit tighter because you're doing it really quickly as opposed to doing it over a long time. But it's still really good and creamy, and it's fun.
You can dance.
People love to, right?
No, it's really interesting. I've never played in those leagues, but
Yeah.
I'm super curious.
It's fun.
You know, it's this days with molecular gastronomy and everything. I think we're a lot more experimental, even in the home kitchen. So this looks doable, but again, as Antonia pointed out, do your homework, learn.
Yeah.
Probably take a professional class.
Yeah.
That would be useful.
Always important.
And you guys actually do a lot of hands-on demonstrations.
Yeah,
here,
so
I guess.
people love to, I'm going to turn it a little faster just to whip some air in there.
Yeah.
And we're almost there. Probably one good freeze will do it for us. And you don't want to overcrowd your bowl as well.
Okay.
So not too much of that. Then it's going to be flying everywhere, and you're going to have liquid nitrogen flying everywhere, and that's kind of what you want to avoid. So.
Good point. Can you put anything in here, any flavoring at the stage or no?
So yeah, I would say like towards the end, if you wanted to add like pieces of something, like
Yeah.
you want like an Oreo chunk,
Exactly.
like you can add Oreo crumbles to make cookies and cream, that kind of thing. So we are done. We're frozen, and you and I are gonna take a spoonful.
I love
just
that
to
part.
try. Make sure it tastes good.
Thank you.
No problem.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Right? Really good.
So I know it's quite smooth.
Yeah, it is, right?
I know.
It's kind of like soft serve, so I would immediately put it in a container and put it in the freezer just to keep it at that hard state. So, but yeah.
Delicious.